This curved line can be a slur or a tie, and those mean different things. Find out the difference right now. My name is Olga, your online music teacher. If you want to learn music from zero, help your child learn, or you're a music teacher yourself, this channel is the right place for you. Basic to advanced topics covered, fresh content every week, so if you are new, consider subscribing. You're watching the 5th lesson of this music theory crash course, where we will continue on the topic of rhythm. By the end of this video, you will learn eighth notes, dotted half note, and more time signatures. In the end, I will also demonstrate a few genres in which these time signatures are often used, and will provide you with a free downloadable worksheet with the lecture notes, where you will do the homework that I assigned to you. And actually just go ahead and get the link from the video description as you're watching. It'll be much easier. Another two common signatures are 2/4 and 3/4. As you learned in the previous lesson of this music theory crash course, the bottom number means the type of a note by its duration. That will get a beat or a count. 4 stays for a quarter, so in this case it's a quarter note. Click the pop-up link if you think you need to watch the previous lecture. In the 2/4 time signature, we will have 2 quarter notes, therefore 2 beats or 2 counts per measure. In the 3/4 time signature, we will have 3 quarter notes in the measure, therefore we will have 3 beats or 3 counts per measure or bar. Neither 2/4 or 3/4 times will be able to fit a whole note, as it is of 4 beats value, which is beyond the boundaries. It would be like trying to put 4 apples in the basket that only fits 3. The common practice when you study music is to count aloud. It helps to keep up with the beat and not to speed up or slow down. When musicians perform, they might sometimes speed up or slow down in an attempt to be expressive, but as to beginning musician, you must be consistent with the beat. Therefore, no, you don't count in your mind, you count out loud at all times for now, and I can't stress it enough. Besides sound, in music there are also moments of silence. Those moments are called rests or pauses, and they get measured as well. For each note, there is a rest that corresponds to the one by the name and its value. Let's recall from the last lesson. Whole note has 4 beats, half note has 2 beats, and quarter note has just 1 beat. Same with the rests. A whole rest has 4 beats of silence, a half has 2 beats, and a quarter has 1 beat. To sum up with notes and rest values. In 4/4 time, a whole note will fit 2 halves, or 4 quarters. A whole rest correspondingly fits 2 half rests, or 4 quarter rests. One interesting detail about a whole note: if it appears that you have one measure of silence, this measure will be filled with only one whole rest, no matter if it's 4/4, 3/4, or 2/4 time. As a general rule, a whole rest in a measure is just an empty measure. I just want to say that again, it is not the case with a whole note. You cannot put a whole note in 3/4 or 2/4 time. So far, we've only had notes that are of 1, 2, or 4 beats value. Get ready because we have much more. A dotted half note is of 3 beats long. This is all that you need to know if you just want to play it correctly, but let me explain why. First, just really memorize where exactly this dot is located. It's to the right of the note, not to the left, not above, not below. Those dots mean a totally different thing. A dot extends the note duration by a half of its note value, not by a half note, by a half of its value. What is a half of the half note? A half note has 2 beats, therefore a half from it would be 1. Let's do the math. A dotted half note is of 3 beats value because a half note is 2 beats and a dot is 1 beat. 2 plus 1 is 3. Same thing applies to rests. A dotted half rest is of 3 beats value. A dotted half note will not be possible in 2/4 time, but you will often see one in 3/4 or 4/4 time measures. I will leave a comment for you under this video with a link to download rhythm patterns that I constructed so that you clap and count or tap with your leg and count. It includes notes and rests. Go and practice them later, but now we move on. What if we want to extend the sound even more? Let's rewind back to the 3rd lesson where I played a little musical piece called Lullaby. While I was playing the right hand, the notes of the left hand sounded for a super long period of time. Guess what? Those notes are tied. A tie is a curved line that joins two notes of the same pitch. The second note in this case is tied. It will not be played, but will prolong the first note by its value, so you play once. Let's say you are in 2/4 time and have two tied half notes. You play the first note and count 1, 2, 1, 2. You might think, Olga, why not just playing a whole note? But we can't have a whole note in 2/4 time. Remember? Now you know tied notes is the exception to the rule. You can tie as many notes as you need to prolong the sound, but you have to actually draw those curved lines between each pair of notes. In music, there is also another curved line symbol that looks like a tie. The difference is that it can go over or under of one or more notes of different pitch. In this case, it is called a slur and means to play these notes legato or smoothly connecting. Now, the quarter note is the shortest note by duration, correct? No. There are 8th, there are 16th, and those two on the screen that I won't even dare to pronounce. Don't freak out just yet. You have to understand, those are barely used in music even by extremely advanced musicians. You will face a lot of concepts in music that are rather abstract and experimental rather than practical, but you have to hear them to better understand music from different angles. For example, would you notice if I didn't mention those numbers that each time you multiply by 2, you get next note value name, and there are going to be twice more of these notes. Let's see what I mean. Here is one whole note. Multiply 1 by 2. You get 2 halves. Multiply by 2. You get 4 quarters. Multiply by 2 again and you get 1/8, and so on. So each time the notes get twice bigger in the numerical name only, but half shorter, there will be twice more of these notes in the measure or bar. Did I confuse you already? Forget about those huge numbers for a second, and let's just focus on the 8th notes. 8th notes can be single. They look like a quarter note with a flag, or they can be beamed in groups. Commonly, there can be 2, 3, or 4 notes under one beam. Look at the chart and tell me how many 8th notes will fit in one quarter note. It's 2 8th notes. We've also touched on the fact that counting out loud is a very important aspect of studying rhythm. The contribution of musical sounds in time or combination of recognizable patterns. If a quarter note is 1 beat long, an 8th is 1/2 beat long. To accommodate for the notes that are shorter than 1 beat, we use the word and while counting. We insert and between each beat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. If you evenly tap your toe when your toe touches the floor, it is considered on the beat. This is when you say the number 1, 2, 3, or 4 while your toe is up. Whatever note or rest you have in your music, it is considered upbeat or offbeat. This is where you say and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Yes, we have an 8th rest too. We have rest for all the notes mentioned above. An 8th rest looks like this. A whole note or a rest fits 2 halves, 4 quarters, or 8/8. Here is an example. If I were to play notes in ascending order, starting with whole notes and ending with 8ths, they would sound as follows. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Notice how the sounds picked up the pace each time we changed their duration. You might be wondering, why would we have different time signatures? Why wouldn't we just write all the notes in a row, since only note values determine the duration of sounds? There is a reason why we have various time signatures. But before I explain it to you, let us for a moment talk about poetry. In poetry, we have certain foods: iamb, dactyl, and napest. Those foods are a combination of stressed and unstressed syllables and represent specific patterns. In iambic food, the first syllable is unstressed. The second one is stressed. For example, to be or not to be. Unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed. This is as far as we will go into poetry. But why I brought it up is because in music we also have melodical phrases, or even words if this is a song. Therefore, some beats in music will have to be stressed, meaning played louder, and the others will have to be unstressed, played softer. In 2/4 time, the first beat is stressed, the second is unstressed. In 4/4 time, which I would say is the most common one, the first beat is stressed, the second is unstressed, the third beat is relatively stressed, and the fourth one is unstressed. In 3/4 time, the first beat is stressed, the second and the third beats are unstressed. In future lessons, we will discuss more time signatures and what music genres they are used in. Make sure to grab lecture notes and practice assignments for this lesson. There is a link to it in the description. If something wasn't clear, just tell me what this is that I need to clarify for you in the comment section below. These lessons are sequential. If I have not covered what you need in this video, it is probably in the previous or future videos of this music theory playlist I have on my channel. So just navigate to this playlist. From each thumbnail, it is clear what is covered in each video. This should make your life easier instead of searching for specific concepts in the search again and again. If you like this video, please give it a like. Share this video with your friend who can benefit from it. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell sign for notifications. Otherwise, I cannot guarantee that YouTube will tell where the new lesson is up. Your online music teacher is not simply a YouTube channel, but the community where your opinion matters. Even if this video is many years old, you comment and I might make the next video on the topic of your choice. Thank you for watching and I will see you in the next video right here.